statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation. You have the floor.
Thank you, President. We would like to thank Special Representative Janine Hanin-Plassat for her briefing. We support the efforts of the Iraqi government to stabilize what is a complex situation which came about because of a series of objective reasons. We understand that resolving the problems facing the Iraqi authorities can't be done quickly. There are ongoing measures to address the social-economic situation. However, there are still popular protests happening in the country. The situation is being compounded by a sharp fall in state revenue because of tumbling oil prices and also the spread of coronavirus. The fight against terrorism is as relevant as ever, and despite success achieved on the counter-terrorism front, the security situation in the country remains fragile, including because of the activities of the terrorist underground networks. A sad example is the recent dual terrorist attack in the center of Baghdad, which cost the lives of 32 civilians, and yesterday's terrorist attack in Erbil. We condemn these acts of terrorism. At the same time, we believe in the need for all those involved in the fight against terrorism in Iraq to respect the sovereignty of the Iraq state and coordinate their activities with Baghdad. There were also attacks on civilian and military facilities on Iraqi territory of the coalition to defeat Daesh. There was also attacks directed at the American embassy and a motorcade of the British diplomatic mission in Baghdad. We stand against this kind of provocation. We are convinced that through inclusive dialogue we can solve the remaining domestic problems. On our side, we are in contact with all the political forces in Iraq and are urging them to seek compromise. Against this backdrop, we call on all external players who are interested in stabilizing the domestic situation in Iraq to refrain from steps that could have a negative impact on this process. One of the priorities of the Kazemi cabinet is preparing for the holding of early parliamentary elections, which were recently postponed from June to October this year. We continue to study the possible modalities for the UN's involvement in the process of organizing and carrying out elections. And we're ready to discuss this issue with other members of the Security Council. We are confident that further improvement of relations between Baghdad and Erbil will help Iraq to strengthen its security and to effectively leverage its economic potential for the benefit of its population. We support the work of the UN Assistance Mission in Iraq, whose work can support the reconciliation processes while respecting the country's sovereignty. Particular support should be directed at efforts of Baghdad and Kuwait to resolve as swiftly as possible all problematic issues in the Iraqi-Kuwait dossier. We reaffirm our consistent position whereby Iraq should not become an arena for regional confrontation. We very much welcome the principal position of Baghdad in favor of building good neighbourly relations. We also bearing in mind the diplomatic potential of Baghdad to assist in de-escalation in the region. And we call on the international community to engage in constructive cooperation in the interest of promoting peace and stability in the Middle East as a whole, including on the basis of Security Council Resolution 598 and the Russian draft concept of collective security in the region. I thank you very much.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for his statement.